logging off, logging on seem to work. Okay, if we can go to the next one. I'll try to catch up on time a little bit. Okay, so this is a little bit about what we do, the Wisconsin Historical Society Local History Outreach Program. We manage outreach services and partnerships with local history, heritage, cultural associations, and groups. We manage the local history affiliate program, the Wisconsin State Historical Markers program, the Speakers Bureau, uh, traveling exhibits, which I just managed yesterday. We had one that's going off to the Three Lakes Museum. So it came through here. And we also do a lot of webinars, programs, conferences. We have our annual conference coming up in October and more. Okay, we can go to the next one. So there's me at the top. We have our regional staff contacts. So I do the orange bit, as you can see. My colleague Janet, who most of you know, does, I guess, the olive green portion of Wisconsin. And then my colleague Kristen does the blue, the southern and eastern region of Wisconsin. Okay. Sorry, I could get rid of the text checkbox. Okay, and then we also have a few other colleagues that do more of a statewide program. So my position is kind of unique in that I do Northern Wisconsin, but I also do NHD, National History Day, which is also statewide. I handle a lot of the Northern Wisconsin aspect of it, but also we're kind of always changing and redoing it to try to make it better. So we'll see. Last year it was all Zoom, and this year it's going back to online, hopefully. My statewide colleagues are Tanika Apollo. She's the Multicultural Outreach Coordinator. She handles a lot of Heritage Month activities and multicultural outreach groups. She's also working very hard right now on the Juneteenth kit we're putting together because, of course, Juneteenth was declared a national holiday basically on Juneteenth. So none of us were quite ready to have something available. So we're like, whoa, let's get this together for next year. So she's been heading that up. So we'll have some kits or programs or items available for next Juneteenth celebration in 2022, hopefully. And Fitzy is our historical markers program coordinator. He and I were just over in Minocqua at the world's largest penny, seeing that historical marker go up. So he handles all the questions about it. So if a marker falls in disrepair or you want to put up a new one, or if you're concerned about a current one, he handles those questions. And probably all of you know Amy. She's our outreach services coordinator. So she does the affiliate communications, annual reporting, how to become an affiliate, those types of things. So if you could go to the next slide, please. So picking up on what we were talking about with Amy, our affiliate program is we have 426 affiliated organizations that we support. All nonprofit community history and cultural organizations, including publicly funded museums and tribal museums, can apply for affiliation. So as you can see on that map, it's pretty dense and it's spread out across the state of Wisconsin. So what's the incentive for becoming an affiliated program with us? Well, affiliate organizations can apply for mini grants, as we talked before about mini grants, to support their collections care or any other requests they may have. They can apply for mini grants for that. We have endowment funds. Your endowment funds may be managed by the Wisconsin Historical Foundation. You can participate in the Wisconsin Council for Local History. You receive the Wisconsin Historical Society publications and newsletters, and discounts from Gaylord Archive, and more. So next one, please. The mini grant program. So each spring, affiliates can apply for grants up to $700 for projects and activities that support collections, care, and management. If you have one of these projects on the horizons, you can plan now for 2022 mini grant. Archival supplies, here's some of the things that we often see our archival supplies, past perfect software, storage and shelving, digitization equipment, climate control, computer hardware, conservation supplies, training for your staff and volunteers. So those are the kinds of things this program would fund. Okay, if you can go to the next one. Ways to engage is definitely webinars. We've done a lot of those, especially during the pandemic. It was a great way to try to get information to our members and keep people involved and engaged. We had a really nice one on the Hmong refugee experience in Wisconsin. We had the author Paul Lohr come on to talk about his book, Modern Jungles, which is a really fascinating read. And in order to advertise that, we actually used, I think it was the Chippewa Valley collection. So it's interesting to see that come up. I think we used a photo from you guys with your permission to advertise it on our social media. Or maybe that was Hmong Awareness Month that we, yeah, it might have been Hmong Awareness Month that we used your data, which was wonderful that we were able to find those resources digitally for us. I'm up in Ashland, Wisconsin, so I'm not on the site. So when I have to do something, and we have an archives here, but it's very tiny compared to the Madison site and what's available there. So I get a lot of my things digitally. So we had that panel. So there were 3 people on that panel. We've done interpreting women's history at historic sites. Of course, last year being a big suffrage year, obviously the anniversary. So that was something we spent a lot of time on. Markers, monuments, and meanings. That was a 3-part series that looked at, I think you guys remember somewhere early in the pandemic, there was some concerns about monuments and markers and what does that mean? And if they have kind of uncomfortable history, how do we handle that? So we had a really nice 3-part series of lots of experts from around the country talking exactly about those issues. We do strategies for fundraising success, reopening. We did something on reopening museums and historic sites, and our past webinars are available on our website. So if you can go to the next one, please. Okay. Ways to engage. So we have the Local History and Historic Preservation Conference. This year, it's still going to be online because of COVID, which at first I was like, oh no, I want to get back I want to get in person. I've never been to one in person because I'm rather newer, only coming on just before the pandemic. But now it looks like, gosh, we may be going back. We're definitely back to masks in my building, which is the Northern Great Lakes Visitor Center. And we may be slipping back into that. So online is probably the best and safest, is definitely the safest way for us to go this year. And that will be October 20th through the 22nd. We partner with SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office. The local history outreach team plans the annual History and Historic Preservation Conference. Then our upcoming ones are Rothschild, which is just outside of Wausau, right next to Wausau, in 2022, La Crosse in 2023, and Appleton in 2024. So we're just picking up kind of in the rotation where we left off last year. We'd hoped to go to Rothschild, but of course that had to be moved to online. So now we're going to be going back. Next slide, please. Well, actually, I should say a little bit more about that. This one here, Janet and I were just talking, and we've got some great workshops lined up. I haven't even seen all of them, but I know she asked me if I would do one of them. So I'm going to be doing a workshop on how to handle Native history when you don't have any reservations nearby. So this seems to be a question I get a lot, that we're like, well, we're not really near any reservations, so we don't know how to handle this. So we'll be doing a workshop on that at the conference online this year. So, okay, next one, sorry. Okay, book club. One of my very favorite activities, probably my very favorite activity, is you get to join Wisconsin book lovers and amateur historians. We meet monthly, September through May. Janet and I started this during the pandemic, so I think it was October when we started it. And we get together, as you can see, the picture on the right is our little Zoom meeting. It started as the Northern Wisconsin Book Club because that's where I am, and it was designed to engage kind of Northerners, but it really grew, and we've got people, I'm looking at this page, and yeah, there's a few of us from Northern Wisconsin. I can see three, four of us. And then there's people from Madison, Milwaukee, Waukesha, Delavan, all over. It, so we decided, hey, let's make it all Wisconsin. And we even have some members that are from like Ohio and Pennsylvania, and they drop in sometimes. So it's been a great way for us to talk about books and engage each other. Where is our book? Our very first book is this one, Wisconsin State Parks, Extraordinary Stories of Geology and Natural History. And this is the first book we're going to start for the season. And we'll be meeting on September 16th, Thursday night in the evening, usually after work hours. And the picture on the left is actually my daughter. That's her bedroom and her favorite blanket in the world. And she's reading one of our selections from last year that we used for social media. So, and it's free. The meetings are free. We just ask you to pre-register so we know how many people are coming and what to plan for and how I can get you the questions. We have discussion questions ahead of time. We also do a lot of nice background pictures, which is why you see some different various funky background photos here. That was the Bird Club or Bird Book Month. So I've got this beautiful Aboriginal owl design behind me. Laura's got the flamingos from Milwaukee County Zoo because she lives in Milwaukee. Janet's got Big Bird, the early version, the like 1970 version. So we try to do fun things like that. And another thing is you get 20% discount if it's a press title. And this year we have 7 press books and 2 non-press books. Okay, next one. And I invite you to join. Please contact me if you're interested. Exciting. Oh boy, this is a big one, right? The Wisconsin History Museum coming up. The Board of Curators just approved a $120 million project to build a new Wisconsin History Museum at the site. So you guys know, or hopefully know where it is now. It's pretty much right on the square. Well, the new site is going to be kind of away from on the other side of the Capitol on East Wash, a block away from the Capitol. So it's not going to be at the same site. Lots of ways they're fundraising for this, private donations, state funds, and we are certainly right in the middle of trying to figure out what we're going to do with the museum, how we can best share the history of Wisconsin, and we're going through those phases. So please stay tuned. That's an exciting one, and we hope to get as many people involved. We had a share your voice. Now we're looking at sharing your history. We just really want to make this a superb place we can all be proud of. So next one, please. Okay, so here's a way to get a hold of us. You can email and it would go to our general box, and then they would farm it out to whoever needs it at Field Services. If you want to get hold of me, it's just liz.arbuckle@wisconsinhistory.org. There through the Field Services, you can thank you. You can request the local history e-newsletter by email. You can join our local history listserv. You can certainly ask advice or post events that we can share. And you can go to our website to learn more. So on the bottom, we've got some fun outreach pictures. So on the bottom left is Bayfield Heritage Association Museum. And that's a nice birch bark canoe made by Marvin Defoe. That's now a part of their collection. And this was taken just before they opened for the season. So you can see they're still kind of getting the canoe still on its sawhorses, waiting to get its more permanent placing for the year. And in the middle, that's our leader, Christian Overland, who's meeting with a few community members. And on the right is our Path Project, which we did up here at Bad River. So the society we partnered with Bad River Tribe and Raspberries, our 4-H club, to paint animal tracks. And so we put it in English and Ojibwe. So it was designed as a way to do some language restoration, preservation project, as well as teaching people about the natural environment. So what the kids did is they would paint the path or the paw prints. So like Mikinek, that's snapping turtle, right? So they put down the turtle's paw prints, kind of the way he or she walks, their gait, but they also did by distance. So like an elk or a deer had really big footsteps, and a little bunny would have tiny little hops. So depending on which animal you got is really how long it took. And you can see my colleague Pam is behind these 3 kids in front. I think she got the weasel, which has little tiny paw prints and very, very close together. So she gave up. We have these nice little templates we were using, little stencils. She gave up and just hand painted them because they were so small. It was just easier to do it that way. So that is just kind of some of the community outreach we do, where I was looking for fun, interesting ways to support our community. And that's something that they wanted, was a way to educate their people and reinforce their culture. So next slide. I think that might be it. Wonderful. Huzzah, I caught up my time. All right, does anyone have any questions for me? Otherwise, I shall yield my time so you guys can keep moving.
We had one question in the chat that was a really good one, which was, does an organization have to be a nonprofit to be a local history affiliate?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of any examples that aren't. Well, no, I might have to get back to you on that. That's a good Janet question. Like I said, I'm still learning. So that's something I need to learn too. I appreciate that question.
We can ask Janet maybe if she comes for the post-fair social time. Or Nancy,
Yeah.
I have your email address. So once we find out, we can get that answer to you.
Okay.
We got another question from the in-person folks over at Barron County. They asked, what is going to happen to the old Wisconsin History Museum when the new one is completed?
Oh, that's above my pay grade. Sorry, guys. I don't know that at all. We have not been informed. I think they're still discussing and deciding what to do with it. And I don't know when that decision will be made.
Really good question, though.
Yeah, it's a great question. I wish I knew.
Yeah. There have been, if folks have been following the news, there have been some site news items lately. I'll just put it that way. And then I thought maybe if you have time or if others don't have questions, maybe you could expand on National History Day just a little bit for folks who might not know about the program or how they can participate or be of use to students who are doing National History Day projects.
Okay. Oh, it looks like Russell found us an answer. Wonderful. I just texted Janet too. National History Day is just what it sounds like, a national program. It started in Ohio back in the early 70s and has now really expanded, and it's now based out of Maryland. Every state and some outside the United States has like a program, right? An affiliate, or a chapter or an affiliate of it. And so within the state, we have competitions. We'll just stick with Wisconsin. So in Wisconsin, we have 7 to 8, depending on the year, contests that are around regionally. The one in northern Wisconsin is in Minocqua. Okay, it's the smallest contest we have. Not a lot of schools. We're hoping to increase that. Then it's Stevens Point, Eau Claire, Green Bay, La Crosse, Madison, and 2 or 1 in Milwaukee, depending on the year. So what we have is schools from, say, different areas. So like Amherst, Stevens Point, or excuse me, DC Everest, Clintonville, all these schools from this region will go and meet in Stevens Point for the contest. And then from that contest, they can then place to go down to state. So what the kids do is they work on months-long research project, and it's designed around a certain theme. So next year it's going to be debate and diplomacy theme. That's the nationwide theme. And every year these kids pick up something. What we see is we see a lot of like Titanic and Amelia Earhart and things like that. But what we're really hoping, and this is where you guys can come in and help us, is we're really hoping to do more local connections for our kids. So if you're in Amherst or Minocqua or, Chippewa Falls, it would be nice to be able to have those local students using their local resources. And since it's debate and diplomacy, which is really, really broad and is found on every single level, so it could be local, state, national, international, their topics aren't limited to like US or Wisconsin. They can do anything, but it has to follow that theme. So what we're hoping this year is to really kind of steer and guide those kids to using their local resources, because they're supposed to use primary sources and secondary sources. So it's a struggle for them at the beginning to kind of figure out what's the difference, right? So we work on them with that. It would be great to have your expertise to help with explaining those things, showing them some primary sources and resources, and maybe doing some debate and diplomacy of your home area. We talked at the beginning of this session is like, why do we do this? And it's to preserve that culture and our sense of belonging. And these things, I think, can really reinforce for the kids that sense of belonging to that community, more so than, I don't know, a broader, much broader topic, Thomas Jefferson or something. Federalist Papers. I mean, I'm sure we'll see a lot of that, and those are valuable and amazing, but this is certainly an opportunity to learn more about your local resources and your local history. So these kids can do it in 5 different formats. They can create a documentary, they can do a website, they can write a paper, pretty standard. They can do the old science fair exhibit type. And they can do a performance, which means they write a play, right, and act it out. And it can be a single person. All of these can be done as an individual, and everything except the paper can be done as a group. So the paper is the only one that you have to be just one person writing the paper. All the other ones can be group projects as well. So then they or sometimes there's a school contest, but then we go to the regional contests, state contests, and then anyone who wins at state goes on to Maryland and will win and then compete at the national level against, kids from, I'm sorry, I've got viewing option problems. Will be presenting or explaining their research in Maryland against all the other kids from across the country and different parts of the globe. So it's an exciting opportunity for them to do some kind of original, fun research, for them to learn more about a topic they love. And where you guys can also come in handy is we always need judges. So this past year we were online, which wasn't as fun for our judges, because some of the best parts about judging is you get to talk to the students one-on-one. And everybody really likes that, because then you can say, well, geez, why did you pick Amelia Earhart? Or what do you find interesting about her? And the kids get excited and tell you why that is and the fun little fact they found about her, or whatever the case may be. And so it's a great opportunity for you to engage with these young historians and hopefully encourage this love of history, because that's certainly the future, right? And it's a great way for you to connect and meet with other judges and people. It's a great way to network. If you're looking at trying to recruit more volunteers and you're near a contest area, maybe you can get more people who are also judges to get involved. It's a really fun, usually in-person event. So hopefully we are going back to in-person, but we shall see. Who knows, right? That's a very long answer to NHD. And again, please contact me if you have any questions, and we can do our best to get you the answer if it's northern or southern part of the state.
Thanks, Liz. And I put your email address in the chat somewhere, and we'll share that again for folks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we're going to scoot